So this week we're going to cover all of the exercises that I found massively effective to help create that back width, allowing us to give that nice V-taper, which is massively impressive in a physique. And for myself, I never really had that wide a back, so I had to look at all the exercises that I found that were giving me the most mind-muscle connection to allow me to develop that back, not only build the mass, but also that size symmetry, because I find that one side of my back was slightly off, but I managed to sort all that out. So today we're going to go through the 4 or 5 exercises that I have used to help bring that back width and allow that V-taper on my physique this week. So let's go. Okay, so like all the other workouts that we've been doing, guys, I will always start my workout with an isolation exercise. I feel like I want to get as much blood, I want to get as much basically pump and get all that blood flow into the area that I want to work before we start loading it with more weight with the big compound exercises. So we're going to start off with a cable, stiff arm lat pull down, which is massively going to isolate those lats, and you're going to feel you get a really good mind muscle connection. Technique with this is always making sure you keep that chest out, and we're focusing and really trying to get that squeeze at the bottom. And again, working from that lighter load, increasing the weight as the sets go on, and allowing us to really work up to that maximum 1 or 2 sets where you're giving that maximum effort. So up again. And unlike most other back exercises that I've found, is most of the time you'll feel it in your biceps, or you'll feel that your biceps will fatigue or they'll get tired first. So especially because the stiff arm lat pull down kind of takes your arms or takes your biceps out of that equation, you really feel like your lats have to do more of the work, prioritizes that muscle group, isolates that muscle group, so you can really just home in and focus on trying to get all that blood flow, get the muscle nice and warm, so that by the time that we move on, we can really start to emphasize and load more weight and really start to push those big compound exercises. And now that we've got the blood into the back, we've got the muscle warmed up, we're now going to move on to the next exercise, which will be your cable lat pull down. Oh, I actually felt that, man. I really need to get that blood flow. I really need to get all the muscle in my back warmed up before I really start moving on to those compound exercises where I can lift more load, put more resistance in the back, and that ultimately is what's going to create that mass and create that size. The poundages on the back, which is going to create that overall stress, which I always find all the cable machines, all the plate loader machines tend to be brilliant for focusing on emphasizing the stress in terms of making every part or every muscle in your back work. Whereas all the big compound exercises like your deadlifts, your bent over rows, your underhand rows. I feel like those are your bread and butter. Those are the ones that's going to help maximize the amount of stress in your back. And again, like most of the exercises that I'm always training, I try and use as much strict form as possible, and trying to take a lot more of the momentum out, a lot of the movements, because I want to focus on getting that range of motion on the back, getting the most amount of stretch with the biggest contraction, using the most amount of weight possible for the most amount of reps. So each set, building up that weight. Okay guys, that's us now done with your lat pull down. Time to get in to the big compound, so we're going to move on to deadlifts now. Still, for me, one of the most important exercises for your back. I know a lot of people disagree, but I think that is in conjunction with a kind of proper training routine to get that back warmed up, get everything in the back working, and then loading the back with all that stimulus and all that overload going on to the big compound exercises. But it wasn't until I could really deadlift to the point where I could actually feel my back work from doing all the other accessory work that I really started to see my back grow. And no matter how many years I spent just deadlifting, my back was never that impressive. It was when I deadlifted alongside all these other exercises that I really started to see my back come on leaps and bounds. Getting a good feel for that. And I always say the good thing about starting light and working your way up is you'll know if something doesn't quite feel right before you start adding up the weights. So that felt really good. So let's add on the weight. So I've deadlifted from the day that I stepped in the gym, and it's probably one of my best exercises, being able to deadlift a maximum of 280 kilo at 90 kilo body weight. Really start to feel that take your breath away, and it's a total different feeling. I feel like with deadlifts, with squats, is that not only when the weight gets heavier, but from a CV perspective, the more volume you do, you not only get that overall stimulus in terms of the weight, in terms of cardiovascular, getting that pump, you really feel that takes your breath away as well. Weight feels good, guys, so let's add on. So a couple of you were kind of asking on a couple of the previous videos about rest between sets. For a lot of the compound exercises that I like to do, I like to go in that kind of strength rep range between 6, 8 and 10. 1 to 2 minutes break between sets, but if you feel like you need slightly more, then I would rather you done that and got more load. Add on some more. Oh. Oh, that's more to my heart than anything else. Really feel things working now. So, we'll move back onto machines now. Go onto one of the plate loaders. Get a bit more volume in there now. Back's really starting to feel like every movement, every contraction, every set, every rep, I'm feeling every muscle in my back contract. So it's now just making sure that we maximize that stress for as long as possible to create that stimulus for new growth. Back to machine plate loader. Takes that tension of the lower backs. Just feeling a bit tired. Go back onto machine. Give that lower back a bit of a rest. Start loading those lats again and really start keeping that tension and just focus on getting that pump, getting that blood flow in there while still trying to progress the amount of weight you're doing for as many reps as possible every set. And that's us finished today's back workout, focusing on back width and creating that V taper or that back illusion. Make sure, guys, that you subscribe, you like and you comment. That allows me to kind of grow the channel and allow me to provide you guys with more content, and I will be delivering on a week-to-week basis. Look forward to catching up with you next week.